So students, in the last video we have seen about what is LOC, what is lines of code, what is size orientation matrix. Likewise, in today's video we are going to learn second way of estimation, which is known as function point based estimation. The conceptual idea behind the function point is the matrix that the size of software product is directly dependent on the number of different functions or features that it supports. A software product supporting many features would clearly be larger in size than the product with less number of features. So the basic idea here is that suppose I have a software, a package, a software which can talk about, which takes data, right? It takes data. Suppose the data that it reads is from the keyboard. It reads only from the keyboard and prints the data or displays the data, process data, right? So the functions that it takes is reading the values and printing the values. Now if the user use case enhances, or if the requirement comes that it should read it from the, not from the only the keyboard, but if from the speech as well, okay, if it reaches from the speech as well, then in that case the input increased, the input is increased, right? There now we have two different inputs, and the complexity of this code is now more than what was in the first case. This was the first case and this was the second case, so the complexity is more. Now suppose another requirement comes that it should take it from gestures also. This is the third thing. So the complexity of this D system is much more than what was in the first and the second case. So if you increase the number of functions, the system will have a larger size. The system should have larger size, but it should not be the case. When I am only using one keyboard, the system should be enormous. It cannot be the case. Okay, so this is the main understanding about function points. But in calculation of function points, you should be taking care of multiple parameters. So the parameters in that case is number of inputs, number of outputs, number of inquiries, number of internal logical files, and number of external logical files. So these are the set of attributes or set of data values that you should be concerned with when we talk about function points. So we will see one by one all these thing. What are the number of input? What do you mean by number of inputs? What are mean by number of outputs, inquiries, ILF and EIF or ELF? Okay. So external inputs are the elementary processes of application that processes data or control information that enters from the outside of the boundary of an application. So anything that comes in from the outside of the boundary, right? Anything that comes in from the outside of a boundary of a system is known as, suppose I have a system here and I have an actor here, right? So the actor actually sends certain data inside this system, right? So this actor is an input and it is an external input, right? It's giving me the data, and the major reason for a particular EI is to maintain one or more ILF, internal logical files. So internal logical files are just the databases. You can think of databases. So the main intent is it is something like I am booking a ticket. I want to book a ticket. So I will give my details as a part of the booking program. It will go inside the system, and the system must have a database. The data will be entered into this internal logical files, or you can say a data file. So the main reason for the input was that this system S should process my information and store it into the ILF. Okay, maintain one or more ILFs. The second thing is called external outputs. That's like external inputs. External outputs are those things that actually takes the control or the data out of the system. So if the system gives you a data, or it will gives you a control, okay, in that case this particular thing is called external output, right? The primary intent is to display the present information to the user through the logic other than in addition to retrieving data or control information, right? Likewise, you are having something called external inquiry. External inquiry is different from internal external input in a way that in external input, your main process is to maintain an ILF. Okay, data should be processed and stored in ILF. We have seen this. And query, what is the main intent? The main intent is to present the information to a user through retrieval of the data or the control information from ILF or ELFs. Okay, external or internal logical files. So if I say I have a system of ticket booking, suppose, and when I give my details for booking a ticket, what I am doing, I am doing the external input, right? When I am just giving my PNR to fetch the detail of my data ticket, and I will should give me whether the ticket is confirmed or not, right? Confirm or not. So in that case, this PNR is not an input, right? It is the inquiry that I am doing. I am doing an inquiry of a PNR, and this system is not processing anything. It's going into the ILF's internal logical files and coming back with the data that it is confirmed or not. So I am not going to process the data and store it into ILF. What I am doing is I am just fetching the value of the ILF, coming back and displaying it to the user. This is one thing. Second thing is also talks about ELFs. Suppose it happens that I have a system of a license. Okay, I want to issue a license. The user give me a status. So he has entered the data. User data has been entered into my ILFs, right? That this is owning a vehicle. This is the date of birth. This is the age, this is the gender, everything I have entered. So this is the user details are part of the external inputs. Now it has a temporary license number. So if it requires about the ID, now whether the ID has been issued or not, I may go and check whether the processing has been done or not. Whether its processing is pending somewhere. So it will give me one inquiry, right? Another way is, suppose it has to maintain a criminal record. It should also see the criminal record of the user, right? So the criminal record cannot be maintained by the licensing authority. It will be with the the judiciary, right? Policing input. So the system will actually pull an external logical file, right? It will send this unique ID to this crime database, which will actually gives whether he has a criminal record or not. If he has a criminal record, his license will be on hold, right? Till the time the criminal case has been resolved or any civil case has been resolved. So this ILF is a part of the system itself, right? This ILF is a part of the system, but this ELF, external logical files, it is also a database. It is also a database, but this database is not part of your system. Okay, this is an external database which actually is resides on some other system, but you need information from that particular ILF, or either you will process it and save it on that, or you will just fetch it. Okay, the primary intent is to present information. So the inquiry will either fetch the information from ILF, or it will fetch the information from an ELF. So we are done with the external inputs, the external outputs, and external inquiries. Likewise, you can have internal logical files, like those files that resides in the application itself, and you can also have something called external logical files, which actually means that the files that are is a logical grouping of data that reside external to the application, but provides details about provide data that we used by this application. Okay, so you are done with all these five type of input, output, inquiry, internal logical files, and external interface or external logical files. So once you are done with all these definitions, and if you have any queries, you can tell us in the comment box also. Now with this, when you know all these things, what is intended out of you is there is something called weights. there is something called weights. Okay, now what these weights are, these weights are already defined by the system, right, by system itself. So these weights, one should not remember, these weights are actually given to you by these weights are actually given to you by the in the exams. Then generally they are not expected out of you to learn and remember. Okay, but what this weight signifies, this weight signifies a certain level of characteristic, whether this inputs or these outputs or inquiries and all these parameters are simple in nature, okay, are average in nature, or they are complex in nature. So weight increases in that order, okay, and they are predefined. So what you need to do, how you're going to solve numerical based on this function point. We in this question, actually what we will provide, we generally you are provided with the set of inputs, set of outputs, a set of inquiries, a set of logical files, and set of external interface files. So once you have all these things, you record all these values, and then you go and fill these values here, right? You go and fill this value in the count, in the count. Suppose this is the count section. So this is the one. There are one more section known as count. Okay. COUNT count. So these are the counts that we actually record from the scenario or the user. Okay. Now we, for the sake of simplicity, we assume that we are considering only simple cases. The requirements is inputs are simple, outputs are simple, and everything is falls under the simple category. So how you, the first thing is you need to calculate a unadjusted function point value. That means a value which is very raw, which should be fine tuned afterwards. So what you do, you multiply 3 with 7, add it with 2 with 2.5, 2, when you multiply 2 with 5, so the value will get 21, 21. This value will get as 10, this value will get as 21 again, this value will get as 20, and this value you will get as 12. So you add them up and you will get certain value. You multiply and you add them up and you will get a value called 84. Okay. So this value 84 is the unadjusted function point. Okay. This will represent some effort or time in future, but as of now understand that this is an unadjusted value of the function point. That means after this we are going to fine tune a particular this function point value and modify it. It may go up, it may go down also, depending upon what are the parameters. So a particular project is not only dependent on the inputs, output, inquiry, and logical files. It may also have certain more parameters that affects the project. So those parameters are known as complexity factors. So each of these 14 factors are assigned a value from 0 to 5. That means 0 means having no influence and 5 means having a very strong influence. So a user has to put in a value against each of these points from 0 to 5. Suppose these points are like this, like backup and recovery and data communication, distributed processing, like multiple installations, application design for change. So you are supposed to give a particular value in the range of 0 to 5 in these against these values. Suppose this is the backup and recovery and the user has given value 1 out of 5. That means he considers very less. I don't want a backup. Likewise, he has given information domain very complex. So he has given you a 5. That means he has the highest priority. Likewise, he have a code designed for reuse as 5, and he has a value called online data entry as 3. So against all these values, you are giving certain value from 1 to 0 to 5. So if you feel like no influence, you can create a value called 0 also. You can put a value called 0 also. Okay. No need to put 1, 0 and 0 also. But what you need to do, you need to sum them up, and then you will have a total complexity value, which is known as degree of influence. When you sum them up, you create a sum of all these 14 points, you will get 46. Now what is this 46? 46 is called as the degree of influence. So this is a degree of influence actually means how much influence it has. So what we do, we actually find all these things and we take a case that this degree of influence will affect only 1% of the project. Most of the project will be affected by the major unadjusted function point value, number of inputs, output, inquiry. These are the major things. There are major functions that a project should adhere to, and these are the non-functional parameters that do have effect, right? But the effect is less. So we will have a formula saying this thing as, keeping this thing as 0.01 0.065 plus 0.01 times degree of influence. So, and we will calculate a complexity adjustment factor. When we multiply the CAF with the other unadjusted function point, we will get a total function point. So the formula for function point comes out to be UFP multiplied by 0.65 plus 0.01 multiplied by sigma of I is equal to 1 to 14 times di. Okay, so this is the complete formula in one go for the function point. So when you put 84 here and you put multiplied it with 0.65 plus 0.01 multiplied by 46, what you will get? You will get it something called 84 multiplied by 0.65 plus 0.46, right? And this thing is coming up to be 84 multiplied by 1.11, and this term comes out to be 93.24. So this function point is come out to be 93.24, which is increased because the system actually, it doesn't actually depend upon just the input, output and other parameters. It also depends upon some non-functional attribute like backup, recovery, online data entry. That's why it increases. If all of many major if you have lots of zeros in it, the system should actually have reduced also. So this is the question. This is one question that we leave to the user to actually compute. Okay, the user should be reading this question. We have given you the values of the weighting factors also in this video. So pause the video, go back to the weighting scales of against each of the input, output, inquiry, logical file, external logical files, and then compute the value of complexity, complexity also, and then calculate the function point also. Assuming that the average productivity was 8.5 function point per month and the labor rate was 7,000 per month, then find the total effort and the cost of that particular system. So this is left to the user. This program, this question you can solve, and you can comment it out as an answer to this question. We will try to answer. We will hopefully answer all the questions that are posted in the comment box. So it will help us to understand better, and it will help you to understand the concept better. If you want a solution for this question, do write us. We will create a video for that thing as well, and we will will teach you how to solve a question on function point. These function point questions are generally asked in GATE level as well. Right now GATE doesn't have software engineering, but many other programming questions or many competitive exams, interviews, you get questions on function points and software engineering planning part. So as of now, this was all about function point. In the next video, we are going to learn about more about the estimation, and we will see some more questions also that will be based on the function points.